All right, so I wanted to go over removing the armor or the challenges in removing the armor from Mezco cable or Krig figures. Now this armor, as many of you who own these know, the challenge is that they have electronic internals. And that means that putting them in water to loosen glue is going to be difficult. So I used heat gun and a screwdriver and the pry tool. And you know, there's quite a bit here that makes these challenging. So I started by trying to remove this bottom section. Now on the Krig figure, obviously you don't have this bottom section. You won't have to worry about this. But so I loosened the glue under here. And what happened, the reason you see a white line is because when I was loosening and prying this up, this piece bent up a little bit, and instead of heating it with the heat gun again to sort of push it down, what happened is it cooled too much, and I tried to push it down, so the plastic separated a bit. I have to touch that up with paint. But essentially, I would not start there. You also have these two sections here, and this plastic is soft plastic, so it's more of that rubbery. So when you heat it, it seems like this is going to give way before the glue actually gives way on it. So that's the reason I say I wouldn't necessarily start there. I would start with trying to separate these two sections. So as you can see, these two sections, there's a tab here, and that goes into a slot on that side. Down below it, you see a half sphere that holds these armor pads in. And basically these two sections are held together just by this piece up top. So this piece has two pegs. Now when I removed this side, I pushed up in the middle. I tried to push both off. I did not heat this one enough to melt the glue. So this one came out freely, this one broke off. But you know, what I figured out is if you are more careful and push, so I took the screwdriver and up at an angle kind of under the arm and move this arm back. I just pushed up underneath while heating off and on under the heat gun, and it popped this one up well. It just was a little bit too much and broke that. So I did it on this side with a little bit more care, and I was able to pop this out, and the whole back piece then comes free because there's no other attach points. So there's a lot of wires in here, as you would expect. Now this front piece, my guess is that once you get these apart, you can pull this back some, and once you get down in there, you can see that these under straps here connect behind, and you might be able to heat it then from there and try to pry from the inside to get those off so that you're not ripping at the attachment point here. So turn a light on and show you a little bit more of the insides here. So what we have is the wire that powers the front lights is actually going to go up and over the shoulder. So it doesn't go through the figure like I thought it might. Although this headpiece that has the light, all of those wires are going to be going inside. So that's, you can see kind of a hole cut in the shirts, and yeah, so let me see if I can adjust, get a little bit of better view. So the hole cut is going to just have the wires run inside and up through the head. Now, what I can't see and might happen is this head might be held on via glue. You might be able to heat this after you get other stuff separated because you don't want to melt the plastic, and pull this head out. Obviously, I've not gotten that far. So the front chest piece separates from the lights, so it's not attached to the body. But you should be able to, if you disconnect these elements, you should be able to just pull this right up over the head. So that would disconnect all of that. That's about as far as I've gotten. It just gives you an idea of how at least this comes apart. The wires themselves look, there's no slots, they look all soldered. I did not get my soldering iron and try to undo those, but really if you're going to, like I intend on dyeing this section, if you're going to do that, you're really going to have to get as much of the electronics out. Now, the board for the electronics is down under here, so if I could detach this section, maybe there would be less damage to any of the wires or internals for the lights here. But again, there could be boards attached up in that section.